problem, I think, we talk about privilege, people get tripped up on this because most of us didn't grow up wealthy. And we've been led to believe that privilege is just about money, right? So I was joking the other day with some folks that it seems like every time, I talk to other white folks in particular about issues of white privilege, all of a sudden, like every white person is from Appalachia. All of a sudden, they're all from the hollers of Kentucky. And their parents were hardworking miners in West Virginia, right? Doesn't matter. You might not have even ever been east of the Mississippi River, but by God, you're from Appalachia when the conversation is about white privilege. Now, I got folks from Appalachia, so you don't get to claim that unless you get to claim that. That to me, we take that very seriously in my part of the country. But here's the thing. I know that most white folks didn't grow up with money. I didn't. I grew up in a 850 square foot apartment from the day I was 3 days old to the day I walked out the door to go to college, right? We ran cars into the ground, only had one at a time, never took vacations. I don't think my parents ever made more than $20,000 in a year, probably more like 15 or 16. So I didn't grow up with class privilege, but privilege is not just about economic status and material. I want us to conceptualize privilege, just like I want us to conceptualize racism as a system that oftentimes isn't intentional. I want us to understand privilege as something more than material. Specifically, I want us to think of it as a psychological edge that you gain when you have the luxury of being oblivious to other people's reality. I want us to think about it as a psychological state of innocence, and by that I don't mean innocence as the opposite of guilty. I mean innocent in the sense of naive, right? That is to say that we have the luxury of not thinking about some stuff as we go through our day. And it's no different than those of us who are able-bodied, right, having the privilege, the luxury of not thinking about ableism and the way that our disabled brothers and sisters, whether visible or invisible disabilities, have to navigate the workspace or their place of worship or their school or their neighborhood or whatever it is, because they have obstacles and barriers and things they have to think about as they plan their day that the able-bodied don't. And guess what? That doesn't make us bad people for not thinking about it. Right? It doesn't mean that I'm intentionally oppressive to the disabled because I don't think about what they have to think about, but it means I have the luxury of being stone cold ignorant to other people's truth and suffering no immediate consequence for it because my knowledge of their truth will not be on the test. And by that, I mean whatever the test is that you have to take to prove that you're competent to do something. So I want us to think about privilege as the stuff we never have to consider. And I'll end with a story that I think makes the point.